Welcome to another Over Underrated, the opinion piece where we discuss whether or not a game is over or underrated. Today's game for critical analysis is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice by Ninja Theory, creators of Heavenly Sword, DMC Devil May Cry, and Dex? Anyway, Hellblade was a real departure from your standard video game tropes. This was a game that attempted to tackle a topic matter that had never really been tackled in video games previously, that of mental health. Developer Ninja Theory worked alongside a team of mental health specialists, professors of psychology and people recovering from psychosis to convey their experiences. The depiction of main character Senua's hallucinations and delusions feel vivid, honest and terrifying.
Instant fear swallows you before you have a chance to make sense of it, and darkness becomes a part of who you are. But her world changed the day the Northmen took him from her. Senua knows that there's no going back to how things were.
I will come back to the point I'm about to make in the conclusion, but as video games become more and more realistic, as technology develops and the envelope is pushed for what video games as a medium can do, more and more games will tackle topics that have never been tackled in video games before. That's because what we can do now gives a weight and realism to topics that just were never possible in the previous generations.
Learned all of that from watching me? You should become a warrior, you know.
Me?
I'm Dillian. I'm here for the warrior trials. Just come and watch. And bring your sword.
You can't put it into words. That moment when you look into the eyes of the one who is supposed to reassure you, make you feel safe.
It's why in the past often the best moments of games in the 90s and the noughties were in cutscenes, while now it is delivered in-game. But this brings about an important question. Just because a game tackles a sensitive topic, should it be praised over other games? Should we pat it on the back a few extra times? We should always respect game developers who attempt to tackle important themes in games because it shows the medium of video gaming is evolving, and that can only be good for everybody. But we should still look at them with a critical eye, because failing to do so would be a failure to the cause the video game is trying to further. So on that note, welcome to Lost in the World's Over or Underrated of Ninja Theory's Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, a disturbing look into the dark recesses of psychosis. Hellblade's 3D binaural sound, I don't know if I'm saying that right, is easily the best and scariest part of the game. One of the most unnerving and spellbinding audio experiences I've ever had in a video game. I mean, it's really cool. Several voices are present at all times with no real sense of identity. I was cheered on, degraded, laughed at, doubted, cautioned. All the emotions you could possibly think of that they could have in a video game to replicate what's going on in your own head, they are all present here.
What are you doing? You're showing weakness. You're not a warrior. You're a disgrace. The gods will punish you for this. Pick up the sword. Pick it up. Fight the darkness. Fight it. Get up.
Often the spookiest moments in this game came when my own doubts I had running in my own head were echoed by the voices in Senua's head. It was unsettling but really wondrous at the same time. As the voices came at me from all sides, I felt myself inside the main character's head like no other character before. It was a pretty crazy experience in all honesty. As you can tell from the background footage, there is no heads-up display whatsoever here, further enhancing the immersion in this dark Nordic world. The visuals are truly breathtaking, often blurring the lines between realities. Obviously this is aided by the fact that there really isn't very much going on screen most of the time. There's not a lot going around you, there's not many enemy encounters, and that means that all the focus is on the environment and the lighting, but nevertheless it delivers in buckets.
So, I'm coming. I still hear
The game opens with Senua, a Celtic warrior with psychosis, returning to her village following a Viking raid. After discovering that her lover was sacrificed to Norse gods, she embarks on a quest to retrieve his soul from them. Throughout the whole of Hellblade, she carries his skull wrapped in a cloth, completely hellbent in her quest to bargain with the Norse goddess of death to bring him back. Clearly Senua has had a traumatic life, and her partner Dylan was the only one who ever saw the real her, the loss of Dylan being the final nail in the coffin of Senua's sanity. Often the game doesn't really tell you what is real and what is in Senua's head, and that's part of the magic of the game. The game doesn't necessarily have an overbearing script, but it is a story full of emotion. The story is not told through a large amount of words really, other than the ones constantly in your head, but more through the incredible motion capture technology used in this game. Never have I seen facial animation so utterly realistic, again constantly blurring the lines between real life movies and video games. Much of the story is quite busy, and that does feel intentional. This makes the title surprisingly stressful to play, clearly a design choice by the developers, but it effectively helps convey Senua's state of mind. I feel the game wouldn't be able to portray psychosis, mental illness, and Senua's own state of mind anywhere near as well as it does without the incredible performance by Melina Jurgens. I hope I'm saying that right.
Senua knows that there's no going back to how things were. That there's nothing to go back to at all.
Stay still, stay quiet, hide, don't tell her.
Their gods can see into your mind. They will use this power to destroy you.
They won't stop me. I can still feel him.
Whatever's left of him, they will never let him go.
I'm not gonna let him rot here.
You're the one rotting here.
Leave me alone.
The performance is absolutely fantastic. One of the best acting performances. In fact, I can't remember a better acting performance ever in a video game. And that's because the motion capture technology used on her face was state of the art of the time. And to be honest, it still is. I haven't seen any game do motion capture technology of people's facial emotions like this. Her accent is delicate when it needs to be, providing a real contrast to the struggle of what she is going through. And her performance completes the experience. Hellblade really grabs you immediately with some fantastic voice acting, brilliant emotion and emotional delivery, and it's really that drives you through a lot of the issues that Hellblade has. Hellblade succeeds in exploring mental health from multiple angles, but the same reason for which it succeeds on that front are the same reason it fails on the gameplay front. You can summarize Hellblade's main gaming mechanics in two simple things. One is puzzle solving, the next is combat. Let's go with puzzle solving first. The need to search environments for runes to progress and open doors to the next area is something that is the frequent thing that pops up through the whole game. There is no other way basically of progressing an area apart from one section where you basically just stumble around in the dark listening for sounds. It's not as cool as they thought it was.
The others. The voices. They've gone.
I'm still here.
It's so quiet. So dark.
It's okay. Listen to your own breath.
A door may be locked with several shapes, so you need to explore nearby areas to find out where the shapes are. Sometimes they can be very obvious, sometimes they can be very, very well hidden or poorly hidden or poorly marked. I don't know. Your viewpoint on that is going to depend on how much you like the game. For me, honestly, after the first few goes of staring at a piece of wood for 20 minutes to see if it was the shape of a rune in a door, I was pretty much sick of it. Find all the runes, you open the door, you move to the next area, you've killed a few people, you get another locked door, you find the same hidden shapes in a wall somewhere, or in the water, or in a reflection of a pack of potatoes in a cupboard somewhere, and you move on. It's like, you know, when you see that story where someone sees a picture of Jesus in a piece of bread. Basically, that's every puzzle in Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice for 6 hours. Honestly, you will do the exact same puzzle you did in the first minute, in the last minutes. There's very few variances here. There's a few visual trick puzzles thrown in there as well, but honest to God, it just got mind-numbing by the end. Secondly, moving on to combat. Combat is distilled down to fast, heavy sword use, quick dodges and counters with evasion and blocking. The enemies are the same 3 or 4 types throughout the whole game. While the combat does take your breath away at first, I mean, the first time I parried in this game, it was like, wow. but it quickly becomes apparent that the first fight will be the exact same fight every single enemy. And there is no variance, there's no upgrades, there's no new weapons, there's no new moves, there's no combos, there's no spells, there's no armor. Start with what you finish with. I will say that the boss fights do stand out, and I don't know if they stand out because they're just so nice and different, just the basic fights you have. Oh, they're actually good. I mean, I did really enjoy the crow fight. The fire fight was great. The beast fight was good. But the showpiece events are fantastic, and they do look brilliant. It helps having an incredible lighting engine, incredible graphics that really sell these showpiece events to you. This is a cinematic game leaning more towards the cinematic than the video gaming, and it really shows, especially with the ending, which is a spellbinding experience. In fact, the ending was beautiful, with some words really ringing true with me in my own battle over the last few years. It's incredible how such a beautiful message that can actually help you as a person can be hidden away in a video game that I only decided to play as it popped up on my Xbox Game Pass, which I only had because I got it free on my graphics card. Life can be odd like that sometimes.
Dillian!
Hellblade is at times a remarkable game, despite many frustrations in execution and design decisions that seem to be in the game as an afterthought. Hellblade is a superb exploration of mental illness told with poise and poignancy, but it has flaws as an enjoyable video game. It's engrossing but plagued by what feels like a lot of busy work or obscure puzzles that just honestly grate by the second and third time, never mind the 10th and 15th time. And a lot of the mechanics are overused and become a real break in pace that you will grow to dislike pretty quickly. The ending is a moving, fantastic finale to the whole journey that this game takes you on. It is probably why the game has such a large variance in critic score, some scoring it a perfect 10, others giving it a 7. Some will say its raising awareness of mental health elevates it to more than a sum of its parts. Some will say that's unfair to the issue of mental health itself. Me? I'm here to answer the question whether or not the game is over or underrated versus a weighted score of 80%. And I have to say I feel the game is overrated. It is a unique experience of the kind I haven't really experienced before. It's a character study with very little great video game elements to it, but it has a lot of incredible character details to it. What I will say is that when it comes to emotions in human beings as a whole, emotions can be quite a strong thing. If I'd reviewed this game 5 minutes after the ending, I probably would have told you it's underrated. But after sitting on it for a few days and thinking about the game as a package as a whole, I did settle on it being overrated, and I'm quite happy with that. There's not a lot in it. It's a really good game. I think the overall score I've been given is not far off. I am feeling a solid, strong 7 on Hellblade's Senua Sacrifice. If you've played the game and you loved it, hated it, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you thought of my own take of the game. And share, like, subscribe, all the usual jazz, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for spending your time with us at the channel. Take care and look after yourself.